Welcome to Bad Game Summer, the time of year where I journey into the bowels of gaming hell to bring you the very worst picks I can stand to play and tell you to avoid. If you like what you see and you want to support the channel, you can do all the usual stuff, and in the description I've got links to make a small donation, buy merchandise, and also follow me on Rumble if you'd rather watch it there. Kabuki Warriors is a one-on-one fighter from 2001 that tries to make a more unique use of its feudal Japanese setting, but ends up looking more like the severely retarded cousin of much better fighters like Samurai Showdown and The Last Blade. It's a game that's often considered to be one of the worst games ever made, and while I can't deny that 22 years and the birth of indie developers mean there haven't been worse games to be released, Kabuki Warriors still stands out as hot garbage. So what is this magical game about? I have no idea. I bought the game disc only off of eBay and only found one guide after playing through it, and I don't know that there's even a story, which isn't really even required for most fighters, to be honest. I promise if there was a story to make fun of though, I'd be doing it. The game is split up into a few different modes. You have Tour mode, Time Attack, and Versus mode. Tour mode is the closest you'll come to a story mode, but again, there's no story, so from what I gather, you're doing some tour of Japan and you're fighting to not only progress to the end, but also each win gives you money to use to travel further. Tour mode could not finish fast enough. It's not so much a slog to get through, so much as it's ridiculously easy, and as a result, you get bored after 5 minutes, because within that first 5 minutes you're playing it, you figure out the entire thing. See, each time you travel, a day in the game passes. You basically travel, you pay for travel, you get money by winning matches and doing things like landing heavy hits or doing combos, taunting your enemies, making fun of their families on social media, stuff like that. The travel time in this doesn't make a ton of sense, because if you just choose the farthest and most expensive point on the map to travel to each time, because this is crappy and you want to finish it quicker, it should take you longer than a day to do. Or maybe the other places are just super close. I don't know. I don't think the backgrounds in this one changed at all during my playthrough either, so my tour of the Japanese countryside is about as authentic as the tour of Italy at the Olive Garden. At least there, though, I get salad and breadsticks.
It's like eating in the private kitchen of a delightful Italian stereotype!
Anyway, I beat this in 11 game time days, which basically means 11 matches, and by the end it felt like I had been playing for 11 actual Earth days. When you beat it, you get congratulated for winning, and the credits roll. That's it. All the points on the map are in Japanese too, so I didn't even know where I was going at any point. The matches are organized a little bit like King of Fighters, where you have teams of 3-on-3 and you each take turns fighting. The difference here, if you even care that there's a difference, is that your previous winning character doesn't actually carry over into the next match. Like, you just start the new match with the new characters that are supposed to fight. To the game's credit, this means you don't get situations like in King of Fighters, where you'd have Terry Bogard or Geese Howard wiping the floor with all 3 opponents. When you win a match, you have to trade one of the computer's team members for one of your own. As far as I know, you can't skip this, so if you're happy with your team, at best you can hope that one of the computer's team is someone you already have, and then you can trade out one guy for the exact same guy. It's really stupid and poorly thought out. Everybody knows what Time Attack and Versus mode are. For those of you who made it past the first minute and are still watching, I know your time is valuable, so we're gonna keep going from there. I will say I forced my buddy to play this with me, and watching the color run from his face as we played this was pretty entertaining. At some point, people I know will stop visiting me because I'm going to make them play something terrible with me every time that they do. So I've gone over the modes, kind of, anyway. What is the actual fighting like? Well, it's your basic 2D fighter, but since it's in a samurai setting, you're going to be fighting with swords or sword-like weapons. The roster is freakish, and everybody here is really ugly. Sorry if that's culturally insensitive, but I call them like I see them. Each character has a different fighting style, and to the game's credit, everyone does more or less feel different to use, even these weirdos who look like creepy mannequin triplets. The controls unfortunately screw up a lot of this, because unlike normal fighters, like all of them, your movement is still mapped to the analog and the D-pad, except jumping, blocking, attacking, and dodging are all mapped to the face buttons. The reason for this is because you have one attack button, and that attack changes depending on the direction you're pushing the analog as you press the button. So instead of fireballs and spinning bird kicks, your attacks are more conventional, like stabs, retreating strikes, and they're also launchers, which I guess are supposed to give you a chance to juggle your opponent, but heck if I could ever pull it off. Each character does also actually have a special attack, but I couldn't figure out what each one was, at least until the computer would randomly use it back on me. One character used a tornado attack, another one used invisibility that would also regain a huge chunk of health over time, and there are plenty of attacks in this that are totally unbalanced. Where one attack would be totally overpowered, another character would do a combo where the first couple hits wouldn't actually register as doing damage, and then the last attack would finally do something if it landed. Blocking in this is too strong as you can't be penalized for using it too much, nor can your block actually be broken. Nor is there chip damage. Lots of times I'd play against the computer and it would just stand there and block everything I was doing, forcing me to basically stand back and wait for it to finally go on the offensive and leave itself open for me to counterattack. The graphics and sound are unintentionally hilarious. The character models themselves aren't quite so bad, but the faces are hideous. The intro and the winning poses are pretty funny too, just from how animated they are with the mixture of them shouting a bunch of stuff in Japanese that, as an American, just sounds like gibberish to me, but it sounds like they're talking all sorts of trash. So that was funny too. Sometimes these characters will fly onto the screen at the start of a match, and I'm guessing they're supposed to be on wires or something since this whole game is supposed to be theatrical. Killing your opponent shows that classic blood spurt we all like too. And I don't know why they did this, but just about every time you select something in the menus, you will hear this voice. Like, this is for 90% of the things that you select in this game. It'll irritate most people, kind of like gags on Family Guy that intentionally last like way too long to the point of not being funny anymore. This alone will make people nuts, but I laughed at just how often it played for everything that happened. So as you can see, Kabuki Warriors is pretty awful, though I'd still pick this over The Last of Us 2 or Forspoken, and I'm being totally serious. What's up next time? Make sure you're subscribed to find out, and thanks for watching. Congratulations! You're one of an elite few to make it to the end of the video. Reward yourself by hitting the round subscribe button in the middle, and then check out the other goodies I've got, the links next to it.